More than exploring and discovering new and advanced technology in defense, we need to invest in creating the right talents, especially among the youth, to ensure that each technology discovered will be used responsibly for the benefit of future humankind. This reflects the importance of having a balanced trilogy of man, machine, and method for highly advanced technology to take off. In defense, especially, not only advanced equipment is needed, superior methods and human resources also must be rightly prepared. Technology and machines based on automation and autonomy give accuracy in prediction and respond to threat. Superior method helps prevent technological surprise due to emerging technologies, and man is the most critical element to keeping up with technologies responsibly. Therefore, it is essential to build a skilled workforce that is not only an expert in science and technology, but also filled with good and positive values in realizing the goal of modernization for defense. Respected ladies and gentlemen, thinking and preparing for future war is essential. The dynamic of future war will be influenced by the uncertain security environment and upcoming global trends. We need to be ready to go against advanced unmanned and autonomous systems. Future war will be more toward hybrid warfare that employs conventional military force supported by irregular and cyber warfare tactics which shape the reality in the 21st century. In fighting hybrid warfare, we should strengthen our cyber electromagnetic activities, repurpose the current force to increase preparedness against malicious cyber threat, and form a new cyber electromagnetic command. Combat management system, software and system integration, coastal radar surveillance, transfer technology in the field of integrated circuit design, ship design and development, and production of weapons and equipment, among others. We must embrace the advancements of technology that goes along with the Industrial Revolution 4.0, such as artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. Future war requires future defense. Future defense capabilities include unmanned and autonomous air, space, and land systems. We must be ahead in C4ISRT, command, control, communications, computer, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and targeting in defending peace and security. We need to utilize high-tech sensors and systems instead of doing business as usual by deploying boots on the ground. Future defense is characterized by smart army. A small yet effective force must be equipped with latest knowledge and expertise, with modern weapons and communication systems, and with better mobility and protection to better prepare for future war. Many Muslim countries are known as importers of defense equipment. But now, more than ever before, we could feel the determination among many Muslim countries, including our brothers who are present here today, that they are on the pursuit of defense self-reliance. Regarding defense self-reliance, we all know that scientific and technological competence of countries strongly contribute to its defense capability and economic power. This summit for me is the best platform for all of us to explore further the possibility of collaboration among each other in developing a more comprehensive method in revitalizing defense and security based on Islamic principles. Therefore, I hope Malaysia could benefit from this summit and the transfer of technologies that have been agreed upon, as well as in other areas that are willing to share, such as with Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, Indonesia, and other countries, especially for the development of Ummah now and for the generation of the Ummah to come. With that, I end my speech. Wabillahi taufiq. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you, Your Excellency. Mentioning that the relation between the military and the high technology is important. And now in our civil life, we use mostly technology was developed by military industries. And the growth of this industry was very important for technology. we need a balance between the man, the machine, the methods, and the man is the most critical responsibility. Thank you for that. Now I introduce our second speaker, His Excellency Javad Azari Jahromi, the Information and Communication Technology Minister in Islamic Republic of Iran. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Usman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and my sincere thanks to the Malaysian government for organizing this important summit. Let me begin my words by sharing with you a shocking statistic. By the year 2030, artificial intelligence will add $16 million to the trillion dollars to the global economy. To bring this number closer to your mind, it would be larger than China's total GDP today and approximately 75% of US GDP last year. And 70% of this gain is projected to be in the US and China. At the moment, the largest portion of investment in AI comes from US and China, and the rest of countries have much smaller shares. Any gap between China and the US will be dimensioned by the difference between these two superpowers of artificial intelligence with the rest of the world. The development of information technology is often referred to as a tool to connect people more easily, develop democracy, and make the world a better place for all. But in the age of artificial intelligence, technology may become a dangerous tool for developing inequality. If artificial intelligence is left unchecked, it will dramatically lead to increase in inequality at the international and domestic levels, creating a rift between the artificial intelligence superpowers and the rest of the world. The artificial intelligence industry has a strong desire for monopoly. Its reliance on data for improvement creates a self-perpetuating circle in which better products lead to more users, and these users provide more information, and that data will produce even better products and thus more users and data. When a company initial early leadership, this type of iterative cycle can turn that leadership into an impenetrable barrier to entry for other companies. US and Chinese companies are already taking the lead and have gained widespread leadership over the rest of the world. They are achieving full 70% of $16 trillion that artificial intelligence will pour into the world economy in 10 years. Other countries have to fight for the remainder while artificial intelligence superpowers will see their market gain profits worldwide. Our concern is that this process will accelerate and significantly widen the gap between countries with artificial intelligence and other countries. While rich countries in artificial intelligence are drawing in profits, countries that have not passed the technical and economic threshold will fall behind forever. Artificial intelligence promises to create wealth on a cycle never seen before in human history. This might be an exciting news, but on the other hand, there is also the risk that countries with poor AI will not be able to reach the ladder of economic development and turn into fully dependent countries. For most countries in the world, Google rules our search engine, Facebook our social networks, and Amazon our e-commerce. Artificial intelligence may extend the same propensity to monopoly to dozens of their industries, leading to a decline in competitive market mechanisms. As a result, a new corporate oligarchy and a 21st century class system may emerge. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for this disappointing picture, but we are facing this situation as a reality. Is it completely hopeless? Surely not. We have gathered here to think about solutions for the Muslim countries which together can make a huge potential. Many analysts have linked the current AI race to the space race of the 1960s, or even worse, to the Cold War arms race that produced stronger weapons of mass destruction. This is one way of looking at AI, as just another tool for more military and geopolitical competitions in the framework of classification power struggle paradigm of the past. But in another outlook to AI, the current rise of artificial intelligence is much more like the dawn of the Industrial Revolution or the invention of electricity than the Cold War arms race. We must direct our competitive instincts to seek for common solution to the common challenges we all face as a people whose destiny is intertwined beyond the economic class and national borders. Few countries may be leading in the technological advancement of AI, but other countries and cultures will also certainly have a valuable stake in the broader social and economic evolution of AI application. No country alone has the answer to complex problems that lies ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, today the Muslim world is faced with many serious and conflicting challenges, including the need for sustainability in economic growth and prosperity, the need to create jobs for a growing population, the need to protect the environment, the need to improve and enhance efficiencies in urban management, the need to respect privacy of individuals and protect their data, the need to provide health care and well-being for aging populations, the need for clean air and clean water, the need to provide food to a growing population, and the need for protection against growing and increasingly dangerous natural disasters. Innovative high-tech products, services, and solutions such as the development of AI can be seen as a tool to overcome the above challenges, but it requires sufficient customer base and market size, well-trained workforce, governmental encouragement and support, availability of financial resources, and appropriate and reliable infrastructure. In my country, in spite of illegal and unilateral sanctions that have been imposed on us, we are seizing this opportunity to focus on our own native resources and capabilities for expanding our infrastructure. We have created an active innovation ecosystem by relying on our young, energetic, well-educated, up-to-date, and motivated workforce. We have heavily invested to expand science and technology parks and promote local high-tech products and services. The authorities that are present in this gathering represent nations with considerable population and wealth. Our joint market size is more than sufficient to justify investment and meaningful R&D activities. In order to respond to the danger of unilateralism, deter political hegemony and economic monopoly, and provide peace and security for our nations, we have to better choice than cooperation with each other. I call upon all honorable participants in this conference to join hands and benefit from the existing expertise and technical knowledge in our wider region, extended from east to west of Asia, to jointly develop new innovative technology and solution. Iran stands ready to facilitate this cooperation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you also for enlightening that the largest market for high-tech is the United States and China, and they are superpowers in artificial intelligence, as you have mentioned. And this issue is very good, but it's also dangerous, and it can be drafts. Concerning the gap of this artificial intelligence between the countries, which is accelerating, this is a risk for the poor countries. And the solution or the problem is not hopeless. We can solve that by supporting the research in this field. No country can introduce all answers for or complete answers for those questions, and we have to work together to find those solutions. It's like the new industrial revolution. Finally, we hope that Iran can overcome the sanctions and participate in developing the Islamic world as part of the humanity. Thank you. Now we go to our next speaker, Mr. Igor, who is a leading Russian engineer working in artificial intelligence for the last 35 years and analyst in social media. And he's an owner of different companies. With Mr. Igor Ashmanov, please.
Здравствуйте. Я, с вашего разрешения, буду говорить по-русски, но презентация у меня будет на английском, так что можно будет читать по-английски.
But my presentation is in English, so you can follow easily on the screen. For a long time, I've been working on the system of artificial intelligence and data processing data, and I worked for different companies, and we also work with foreign companies and in different countries, including China, which was mentioned here. I will reiterate some things related to what Iranian minister just mentioned here. What happens when the country does not possess the technology? All this conference is devoted to the sovereignty. As we all know, sovereignty is I'm not going to read the obvious components of sovereignty. You can see it on the screen. It's cardinally dependent on the new component, which emerged, which is relatively new. It's digital sovereignty in a digital sense. As we know, in geopolitical history of the past couple of decades, 1 decade and a half, probably, if a country is not completely sovereign in digital sense and doesn't control its digital space, it can also lose other components of its sovereignty. We've seen it during the Arab Spring, some cases in Ukraine, and other cases when the country becomes torn apart because it doesn't control its digital space effectively. This component became very important. What is this digital sovereignty? I'm not going to read, not to waste your time here. This is a capacity to control what's happening in your digital space. Not all countries in the world can do that at the current moment. Digital sovereignty is multi-layered. It starts from the hardware, which is, again, produced not by all countries in the world. And then the software, operating systems, browsers, and all the rest. And on top of this, media. Online media, and also search engines, and the whole plethora of information intermediaries, those who deliver information based on their own discretion. Unfortunately, those external technologies, they are coming from abroad, they are imported. And I would call this process, which was discussed in the previous presentation, as a new digital colonization. Because it is being enhanced, and technology does not actually produce independence. To the opposite, they produce dependence. Since I'm involved into the analysis of networks, all of them that you can just imagine, we are downloading several terabytes per day, and that's a very big search engine. And maybe I have some professional deformation. I think it's very important. Social networks is a medium of influence and managing the country. External influence and managing your country. And these processes must be controlled by the state, by the government. Also about artificial intelligence. For many years, I've been doing work on artificial intelligence, search engines, speech recognition. And I must say that economic reasoning about artificial intelligence is very interesting. And probably artificial intelligence will start making a lot of money, given that it's developed enough. But what's the most important here is the defense meaning of this technology, the defense significance. Countries that will not have this autonomous weapons in 10, 15 to 15 years to take to the warfare, they will be very vulnerable, because any war will be conducted within seconds, within the matter of seconds. And if you don't catch up with the technology, you will not even notice what happened, let alone win the battle. And those countries will remain vulnerable. The same can be said about social technologies of artificial intelligence, analyzing people's behavior, face recognition technology. This creates tremendous risks. If the country does not possess this technology, it's extremely vulnerable in the face of those risks. And they become the key component of digital sovereignty and sovereignty as a whole. We can split it into two parts, the digital sovereignty, which the first one will be electronic sovereignty, resistance to cyber wars against Trojan, DDoS attack, hacking. This is defense against protection against protection of your device, both individual and corporate, against it being overtaken from elsewhere. In fact, this market is quite well developed, and there is a lot of protection tools, so you can purchase and use it. Then what concerns information sovereignty, that's the second part. It's not even important that if the device works or not, but when it's working and it's overtaken by someone else, and that someone else is ruling over it, is managing it. It's very bad if you are somebody stole money from your bank account. That's very upsetting. But if let's say hackers hijacked brains of our youth, that would be, I think you agree with me, more upsetting. So what should we do in order to protect our digital sovereignty? We need political will, national strategy in that area. And those strategies must include artificial intelligence, and also strategies to manage media space. We need to understand that all the major companies which invest a lot of money into artificial intelligence, they already have those strategies, and they will be naturally trying to create barriers for the others to enter the market, to remain the absolute leaders. And the way it was mentioned in the previous presentation, there is a second process. It's not less dangerous. When control is being overtaken by a platform, they are providing the whole line of services and start controlling many spheres of your life. And their budget sometimes exceeds budget of some countries. So in order to deal with it, governments, states also need to work out some judicial norms in order to regulate it. For example, in Russia, the process is ongoing, and it's very intense in order to limit possession of such kind of systems, and also to limit the discretion of external players to post various materials in our digital space. And also, that's a question, that's an issue of purchasing the technology, not as a black box, but also to purchase a technology in such a way that you can have specialists equipped with skills which can develop this technology. I want to talk in detail what do you need for developing your legislation. The most important thing is that the government must have control and consider the existing factors peculiar to this country. As a rule, the external players, they come to countries which profess quite different values. And to make them abide by the values that the country got used to, and that the country is professing, we can only by the means of legislation. That's about data centers and services, services which are provided by foreign players on the territory of that country that must be regulated. We think that even if it's not so realistic to substitute foreign services in our country with our own, it's not so easy. We understand that. And there is such an effect takes place when there is a large audience. However, at least at the beginning, you need to have this magic tool that you could at least monitor work of those search engines, which should be independent from producers of those media platforms. At least it allows you to have a look at what's going on there. I'm not going to read what are the components, but it's important that we need independent instruments which help the states monitor such kind of activity. Of course, we need tools for protecting ourselves against digital attacks. Unfortunately, population and civil servants even do not understand that we live in the epoch of digital wars. They take all those tectonic shifts which are going on in the messenger, social networks for freedom of speech. But in fact, there are many very skillful, experienced operators which are functioning in that space, and they are using it to their benefit. So how the Islamic countries and all the countries which have restricted access to technology can obtain it. They are limited in a way how it is stated here. Have a look. Technology is sold as a black box. As a rule, modern technology works from cloud firms, cloud servers from somewhere out of which is located out of the country, and the whole data is going there. It's flowing there, and it's not even a sale which takes place about technology. It's like a rent. A mobile phone is, for example, it's the device which is given to you on lease in order to trace the flow of information, who are you contacting, what data are you using, what are your searches, and that's how the concept is. For example, how the lease of car, how the lease of car works. That would be the same way. Okay, I was told that I need to wrap up. This is I have 2 last slides. I'm wrapping up. There are other models how you can interact on transferring technology. It can be with also accompanied by transferring source codes, transferring knowledge to the workers, to the employees in that country, nationals of that country, which can reproduce that technology, and this technology exists. It can be done with Russia. And we have suggestions how it can be done, including the connection to the internet and information security as a whole package. The advantages are clear. Technology remains in the country, and money are invested in the country, within the skillful, educated elite, which can develop this technology within the country. And here I'm going to wrap up. You can take a look at the slide. All the technologies are mentioned here. Monitoring of social networks and online media, internet search engine, maps, online new aggregators, messenger, social networks, artificial intelligence. All of them can be available with the original scripts. We are not transferring it as a black box. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Important answers for what was raised by His Excellency. We are facing really a digital problem. As you mentioned, digital sovereignty. There was several solutions proposed by Mr. Igor. I think that was important ideas how to solve this problem and to bridge this gap between the countries. Our next speaker is Dr. Muhammad Abdul Karim Abdullah. He is a mechanical engineering professor, in fact, professor in mechanical engineering, and the CEO for Sebra Dynamic Holdings Group, which works in IT solutions and as a frontier technology company. Please, Dato.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Osama, my respectful speakers, Captain of the Industries, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Time is an essence to this particular discussion. I will go straight to the point. I will be presenting something on the smart city and smart ummah. As we know that all of us gathered here are mostly from the Muslim countries, and it is regarded as a smart ummah because of the selections of the way of life that we are choosing. And as a smart ummah, we are expected to also adopt ourselves to the respective frontier technology, what we call it as immersion into a smart city applications. And I'm representing my company, Sebra Dynamic Holdings, and there are solutions which we would like to introduce to the audience. This is just a very brief rundown of the overview of a smart city concept. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people is very concerned about the destructive effect of all this frontier technology. And a lot of debates has been going on, but whatever is it, my personal comment, and after discussing with a lot of learned scientists and so on, the issue here is whether we like it or we don't like it, it is coming. And if we do not immerse ourselves and adopt and understand this particular frontier technology, then at the end of the day, the smart ummah, the Muslim, will be left very far behind. So among other things, if you look at the slides before that, it's talking about the pillars of the frontier technology related to Industrial Revolution 4.0. The other speakers has touched a lot on that. I would not like to go into more detail of that, but I would like to push forward to see some of the more physical outlook to understand this technology in a better manner. One of it is a smart traffic control, very important when we talk about a smart city. Smart surveillance is also another very important concept in which it ensures quite a number of importance in terms of security, safety, and also to protect and ensure that unwanted events and so on, for example, like robbery and terrorism and so on, it can be identified much earlier, and analysis and diagnosis, if required, if just a situation happen, can be tapped onto and also come to retrieve or get the necessary solutions to avoid such kind of situation from happening. Smart residence is also very important for the ease of the latest life, which is very challenging in a career, especially those who are living in the urban area. AV and EV is also very important. AV stands for autonomous vehicle. EV stands for electric vehicles. And it goes in line very nicely with the world heading towards avoid the emissions of carbon that will cause destructive to the entire environment and also to the world at large. Smart manufacturing and maintenance is a need, because if we want to live in a smart city, all these manufacturing components and so on has to be made available. And maintenance is a very, very important portion of it to ensure the continuity of such a technology. Smart education, of course, is of ultimate importance. Nobody can deny it, because the strength of the Ummah, future generations, very much goes back to the strength of the donation in terms of their knowledge that the respective community has. Smart grid system, very important, because if we have so much technology, but the grid system is not there, the energy transmissions and so on is not happening, it will make the entire technology hopeless and useless. High-speed network infrastructure. In our country, people always say that if you want to tap onto your mobile phone and retrieve some of the message, you always had to see a continuity of a mechanism where you retrieve. Why? Because the speed is very, very low. Our initiative that we would like to suggest and offer to the Smart Ummah. Robotics is one of the areas which is very important because there are a lot of applications which can be applied to. For example, like the age community. If we look at the world statistic, China is heading into an aging community. Japan has and is undergoing an aging community. Malaysia is of the statistic in 2035 or 2030, more or less, it also will enter into quite a big percentage of the populations to become an aging kind of community. So robots actually is aimed to come in to help to nurse all this aging community, because the younger generations are busy with their career and so on. So that is where, if you look at the evolutions of robots, from very rough robots, they put in the element of humanoid, more touching, and as the technology moves forward, in Japan, people is talking about Society 5.0, is looking at making robots more humanoid so that they can smile when it comes to give or help the aging community. And of course, you see also another slide just now, robots that are applicable onto the under-surface applications. It's very important, rather than human being going down. We know that as we submerge deeper into the subsea, the pressure will be higher, and it will cause a lot of difficulty and health implications onto human beings. So robots comes in to play that particular role. Smart maintenance, as everybody knows, if how much we invested into different types of technology, if there is no maintenance, predictive maintenance, condition-based monitoring maintenance, analytical maintenance, and so on, carried out, all the investment that have put in will be wasted, and it will not generate the intentions that the initial investment that respective asset owner puts in, or respective country put in. So smart maintenance is a very, very important approach to overcome shares wastages. Hologram and VR, AR and MR. VR stands for visual reality, AR stands for augmented reality, MR stands for mixed reality, a combination of both visual and also augmented. Moving forward, I always talk to my fellow politicians, especially one of our favorite politicians in Malaysia is, we call Mat Sabu. He's a very down to the ground politicians, communicate and engage with the community, and he's a very popular speaker. And the demand will be very high. So, for example, like in our country, he might be speaking in Kuala Lumpur. There is a demand coming in from Penang, from Johor Bahru, but he's only with one body. He cannot go to different locations at one time. Hologram can come in to play that role. So who would like to have that? We can have further discussion after this. Ladies and gentlemen, we talk a lot about Industry Revolution 4.0, frontier technology, and so on. The short video shows the applications of how all this technology are put into motion. And this is some of the things that we are introducing into the community. And we are actually creating a situations by putting a digital kind of entertainment into the community. And we have no intentions to try to distract the youth and the youngsters so that they've spent and wasted so much time in all this entertainment. We are of the opinion that these kind of digital transformations and entertainment will excite the brand and the motivation to move forward to understand better what digital technology means. And of course, we will create and manage this properly. This is actually an example of the components of a smart city. And we have put this proposal forward, and we are working on it to become a reality. The message reached me, science is out. Just a short while, a few seconds again. So, ladies and gentlemen, my conclusion is smart city for the smart Ummah. Let's make things happen rather than talking and appreciating a lot of things, but move it into practicality and see how this technology can help to build up the future Ummah today and the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daito, for that. Smart city with smart Ummah. Good idea. We hope, inshallah, to see that on the ground soon. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Professor Engineer Khaldoon Diya-Eddin. He is a Zurich University of Applied Science professor in Switzerland. He works in engineer development on both soft and hardware. Please, Mr. Khaldoon.
Thank you very much. I would like just to say that speaking in this platform with these eminent, prominent persons and in front of Your Excellency, Mr. Prime Minister, that is for me a great honor, and thank you very much for the organization of this conference and for the opportunity you are presenting us. It is clear, I will go directly to the subject, it is clear that we believe that the economic aspect is a major topic, but today what is managing the economy in general, or where are we heading? It is clear that the issue of technology is a core part of such economic acts of action for the development and sovereignty of the engaged Islamic countries. My speech aims to strengthen the sovereignty of each state through strengthening the mass of states. Just let me explain to you what is the drive for change. First of all, Islamic civilization, I consider it as a link in the chain of human civilizations. We are not special things. We are part of the human history. It was the first time, that is a big contribution, in history that through and in this civilization, the consolidation of knowledge and sciences was done in one lingua franca, which was Arabic at that time. And this is one achievement which nobody is paying attention to that. But history went on. And throughout the history, we lost several revolutions. We lost the revolution of printing. We lost the revolution of steam. We lost the revolution of the service information and service transformation. And now we are in front of the revolution of digital transformation. Are we going to lose that too? There is a need for change because, and I think many of my predecessors say that, first of all, it is a matter of survival as sovereign states or sovereign countries or even a sovereign person today. It is also our duty as Islamic states. It is our duty to contribute in kind and in values to today's global civilization driven from the value of istikhlaf, which we have as Muslim, or we believe in that. Technology today, technology changes is overwhelming through its speed, diversity, and impact. This change is one of the results of globalization. The major aspect of that is this technological change is a phenomenon of digitization. And you see here very clearly that the globalization on the slides led to a change in cost of goods and services. And this leads to the consumerism with all the other aspects and consequences. For example, combined with the technology, the customer network model. So all our business model has to change also. All our approach, the customer relationship management, the whole science will change. We have the speed of the speedy technological development led to a phenomenon of smart city, which was presented just roughly before a few minutes. We have also the phenomenon of the Industry 4.0, which is also overwhelming here. I would like just to open one brackets here very quick and say we are all speaking about the artificial intelligence, about the internet, about the data revolution, and that is, we are thinking that only that is high technology. We have much more beyond that. I mean, we don't have to close our mind and say, well, high technology is only something which is related to digitalization. But digitalization is managing that, is helping that, is fostering that. The phenomenon of smart city will bring us, it has to deliver sustainability, it has to be prosperous, it has to have inclusive future for the population. And in addition to that, we have the mobility of the population. We see people moving from one place to another, from one country to another country, within the same country, within even the big states. We have megapoles today. There is a need to reconstruct the social capital. Digitalization will help us on that. Phenomenon of Industry 4, we already spoke about that. I'm not going to make longer on that. What is my message here is that we need to create a critical mass. We mentioned many times during these 2 days that we are 1.7 billion people, that we are, I don't know how many countries around in the world. The problem is not that each country is doing its business by itself. This is leading nowhere. Research and development, for example, in the digitalization world, it is not possible to make it in one country. One small country can't do that. We don't have the skills, we don't have the money, we don't have the capacity of doing that. It needs the work, the work of all. The customers at the same time, because it should be sustainable. It should be also, there should be a return on the investment we are bringing. This is only possible if there is this critical mass. In terms of security also, we need the critical mass. One country cannot stand against the world, or let us say the capitalist world, if I want to say that, for its own alone. There is only through the creation of this critical mass that we can do that. So the objective of that is to reach this critical mass, and that is essential to compete globally. Now, I go directly to something which is practical. I don't like to have this too much theory about that, because I'm coming, as you heard, from a University of Applied Sciences, and that is my dream always, to make the things, transform the ideas into facts. My idea is that we need, first of all, to have a framework, and this framework should promote, organize, and regulate all this development in this world of digitalization. And this will cover, from first side, you see it on your left side, the public sector. From your right side, you see the private sector. That is essential to have both sectors which are aligned. If they are not aligned, there is no digitalization, successful digitalization. And now we need, in this development, we need to have the technological development trends. We have to consider them. We have to take that into consideration and put them in our calculation. And because we are also Muslims, because we have also our values, we have to take these ethical values and considerations. Otherwise, we can do exactly what the others are doing. We don't need to copy that if we don't bring any difference. So my idea is also here to create something, name it now, for now a commission. Now, I don't know the organization, I don't know the name of that, I don't know now who is that, but take now the idea as a generic idea. And here, together, and develop Islamic ethical sets of values. What are today the needed ethical values to apply in this domain? We have many new things which are coming, which we don't know what is the answer of that. We need to have persons who are going to work on that. From the other side, this commission will work on the gathering of international and local requirements and needs. And this goes into field research, not only desk research and only with the statistics. We heard about from where the statistics are coming and how reliable are these statistics. We need to go to the field, we need to go to the research, we need to gather that. And this has requirements as well as needs. And then to gather also the best practices and experiences. During the last 2 days, we heard a lot about many experiences, many things which were done, and I think here we need also to gather that. And then to formulate recommendation for the best solution, best ways of application, and some implementation plans, real implementation plan after having all that. As idea here, and again, as I said, it covered the private sectors as well the governmental or public sector. I have here a phase. I am not going through that because that is a little bit too long, even with the time, even with the partial of that and the conditioning when we to go further or when we stop and so on. But that is, I think, beyond our time limit. Therefore, I go here to the key success factors for such a project. First of all, and that is the most important, political backing in the start and in the partial decisions. The second is availability of resources. We need to have financial resources for such project. We need skills and we need the space. Space, I mean here also secured space because what we are gathering is also special. The other thing, we have to have impartiality toward the countries contributing, no biases or fair distribution. Every country has its priorities. Every country has its interest. Every country has its possibilities. Every country has its budget. We cannot in such commission or in such a project have bias toward certain things. So it should be a little bit neutral from that side. Impartiality also toward the technological sectors, like for example, the methodological approach, which approach we are going, because we have different schools on that. Then impartiality toward the technological solution and platform. So we need to have technological neutrality in that. At the end, we need to have also a speed of execution. We can, in this speedy development, technological development, we cannot be slowly and thinking about bureaucratic issues and things like that. We need to have also fields and desk research, not only desk research or only intellectual who are sitting somewhere in their ivory, let us say, tower. Global benefit from previous and other similar exercise. We are humankind. We share with our human brothers around the world all this experience, and we are also ready to share that with them later on. Then we have to have in this commission also 360 degrees approach, including ethical and Islamic values, and then at the end, the organizational fit. That is essential in such commission. It should include sound governance too, for the project itself, how it will be developed. It should be a federation of efforts, not individual and silos, and the ways of communication and entry points in order to organize this project in this term. That is a little bit just a short presentation of two ideas which I presented in a writing form to the summit, and I would like to thank you for that. And I think I'm within the time, no?
Within the time, thank you, Professor Khaldoon, Jazakallah khair, talking about digital transformation, the importance of that, and we have no chance to lose this, and the key of success to do this. Thank you very much. Sisters and brothers, we were a little bit late, so we have around 30 minutes to the end of this session. I will have 7 to 8 speakers only, with not more than 2 minutes, and then I will give each speaker of our honorable speakers 2 minutes if he has any comments on that. So let's start. Please, everyone has to introduce his name and position if you don't mind. Please. And then our sister coming back to you. Please. Okay. The name.
Sorry. جواد الحمد جوردن. حقيقة الإشكالية اللي نواجهها في العالم العربي أو
we are facing in our Islamic world, that technology is made outside our countries and controlled by other countries, and all of you know this, and you are part of it. The problem is its direct impact on our culture and civilization. It constitutes a big challenge. We have to use technology, but we have to preserve our internal security. identity, our values, and that's why I believe that as Dr. Khaldun said in his last speech about the importance of making technology and security of technology and the values that are related to technology. And this needs a very expansive cooperation.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sister Mariama, and I'm from UITM Malacca. My national business. I would like to say thank you. Just one thing about robotic. I was thinking, even though you humanoid, the robots like human, tetapi kalau terlalu
ever, if it is too human, and that is a woman robot and take care of the child, then the child will be confused. If it has, so this mother is just like a robot, so that will cause confusion. Number two, that is my point, because I'm thinking that mother is important. I have been emphasizing on the importance of women. And secondly, another point. Okay, she wants to stop here. Terima kasih.
Can I get a minute?
Thank you. It's good that till now we have 1 minute for each speaker, so we can have more speakers, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'm General Retired Azumi, the Chairman of Cybersecurity Malaysia, current advisor to the OIC Computer Emergency Response Team, and past Chairman of the OIC Computer Emergency Response Team. We've heard from the panel discussion about cyber wars. We've heard about the gaps amongst us. We've heard about the fourth industrial revolution that seeks to transform the way we live in unimaginable and unprecedented ways before. But let us be wary that this technological transformation that we are going through today is a new dimension in international relations. It impacts on geopolitics, it impacts on geostrategy, as evident by the high-profile cyber incidents that we have witnessed over the years. Take, for example, unprecedented before, in February this year, the Israeli Defense Force used in real time military lethal response, unprecedented before, just because of a digital incident by the Hamas on Israel that resulted in 28 Hamas being killed in the Gaza Strip. We saw, for example, we heard last year the US, in retaliation to what it perceived to be a digital propaganda interference in the US presidential elections of 2016. In 2018, the US launched a cyber attack on the Internet Agency of Russia. That is a civilian outfit. But what I'm trying to convey is that there are ways and means to mitigate this new dimension. And one of the ways is for us, we are not short of efforts, for us to work together, for us to leverage on our collaboration and cooperation. That is why we are at this summit to broaden consensus, to deepen cooperation, and to seek ideas on how do we transform, how do we mitigate these problems. And we, as I said, I'll finish shortly, as I said that we are not short of efforts. Take, for example, the Global Cybersecurity Index 2018 report by the International Telecommunications Union of 198 countries. Malaysia and Turkey we are in the top tier. Malaysia ranks number 8 globally out of 198 countries. There is this Organization of Islamic Cooperation Computer Emergency Response Team. And finally,
Thank you, General. We are out of time. It took around 4 minutes. Everyone has 2 minutes. In 30 seconds, please.
Can I get 1 minute?
They cut the microphone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, General. Thank you. I think that you mentioned an important idea. I hope our speakers can comment on that. Thank you very much. Someone on that side? No one? Please. And then our sister, and you are the third. Please.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. And,
who is speaking, please? I asked our brother here to speak. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم محمد الراشد من الكويت
Muhammad al-Rashid from Kuwait. These big projects about the artificial intelligence, I think they are universal major projects that need funding and finance, and they are impossibly successful if not if not funded. So I suggest that the countries in this summit found a bank that can support artificial intelligence. This is a good step.
My name is Sharifah Rashida. I'm from the National Cyber Security Agency, National Security Council of Malaysia.
Can you come close to the mic, please?
Okay, sorry. Okay, my name is Sharifah Rashida. I'm from the National Cyber Security Agency, National Security Council of Malaysia. I would like to pick up the brains from the panelists. We are talking about advanced high tech, and all the advanced high tech technology is cyber. It needs cyber platform to be working. And in order for us to have a trust of that, we need to provide the appropriate security measures in there. My question is, not like traditional security, the owner of the asset of the cyber, which is the telcos, the critical national information infrastructure, are the private sector. How, as a sovereign state, our roles in order, as well as what we should do in order to protect the national sovereignty, as well as the protection of public safety and security, and the economic stability of the country. That is my question. Thank you very much.
I think this is a good idea. Please.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنا عمر بالخيري.
أنا عمر بالخيري from Tunis. أنا رئيس the head of the democratic parties and council in Tunisia. From the point that we're addressed here is how to protect our children from immigration. I think constituting a center to gather all talents in all the world to protect our scholars from immigration, because from the outcomes of this summit is to establish such center, and this will be a positive point. This center should be directed not only to Muslims, because Islam came to all the worlds. So constituting this center will gather Muslims and non-Muslims, and it can be a means of da'wah and spread of Islam. There is a Tunisian person in Switzerland, and he spoke about technology. What we know about technology is to know people, and it depends 350 points. This man in Switzerland, he said there are 800 points that can identify the persons. So he reached this result. Such as this man, they are available in many areas of the world. So we have to bring them back, and we have to find a mechanism to bring them back. فكر جيدة عن المال والقوانين. أخونا هناك. أنا معاذ from Maldives.
I wanted to ask you on the machine automation. Now, the Muslim population is actually growing in this world, and I would like to actually discourage any government from supporting any kind of machine automation that takes jobs away from people, ordinary people that needs jobs. It would be good to actually support initiatives that actually gives them more jobs, but I do not think it's a good idea to go for machine automation that actually takes away jobs.
Okay, thank you. Our brother there and then our sister, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I am Jafar Ahmad bin
Милосердного. Я Мухаммад бин Абдуль-Гани, президент организации Рохинджа, малазийской организации мьянмарских Рохинджа. Я хотел бы поблагодарить организаторов этого саммита. Я хотел бы затронуть.
A lot I can promote about the Malaysia a lot doing about the human life stability, about the justice and protection action plan. I need this the KL summit 2019. What can help for save our Rohingya brother and sister? Still, we are beating genocide in our countries. We are now 77 years beating genocide in our own country. We need us to help us, all Muslims over the world, please to save our Rohingya community in our Rakhine state.
Thank you,
about
your message was received. We hope all that this problem can be solved and our brothers
my
in
question
Rohingya
is,
can be protected. Please ask a question. Ask a question about this session.
Mr.
Please.
Speaker, my question is how to economic about for what my community in over the world about the digital issues, civil society, security.
Thank you. Thank you. We hope the best for our brothers in the Rohingyans brothers, and I believe all the Muslims all over the world are supporting your cause, but this is not our session now. Please, our sister there, yes.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum. I'm Sharifah Nur Kamsia, Innovation and Nuclear Advocate, previously Special Officer to Science Advisor to Tun Mahathir during Tun's 4th premiership. I'd like to make a comment because there's a lot of discussion on developing high technology, especially the 12 technologies that is outlined during the World Economic Forum, including AI, robotics, etc. I would like to propose that in addition to the Islamic nations focusing on technological innovation, another two very important areas that we must look at is innovation in financing. Because the conventional financing does not support high-tech businesses, so the Muslim investors must look at building skills in terms of business angel financing and venture capital financing, because these are the new models of financing that's required for us to take the technology from the laboratory into the marketplace. Another last one that I'd like to propose is one of our distinguished speakers mentioned about private sector as well as some transformation in the public sector. So the Ummah in Islamic countries need also to establish and advance innovation in the public sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last speaker there, and then each of the speakers will have 2 minutes, please.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Zaid Al-Hajj Muhammad from Palestine. My question is, as we can see, the rate of technology is moving really fast, and it's outpacing our ability to understanding. And let's be honest, computers are much smarter than humans nowadays, whether we like it or not. So how can we protect ourselves from an AI error that may result in an end of a civilization, for example?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I have also to mention that we were supposed to have Professor Mujtaba Muhyiddin, but for some reasons he was not with us. Now, I will give each of our honorable speakers 2 minutes for comments on what they have heard. We'll start in the same sequence. Your Excellency, Mr. Muhammad Sabo, please.
The most important element for successful industrial collaboration is to have its self-awareness. As a country, we need to know our strength and weakness and what we want to achieve from industrial collaboration, planned and implemented. This seminar or convention we have, how are we going to persuade, especially the rich country, especially Arab country, because the money they spend to weapon, why we can persuade them to spend for the money for research and education. From 4th to the 8th century, we have a very established good university like in Cordova, in Baghdad. So at that time we are graduate from Cordova in Baghdad, same thing like we are graduate now from Harvard or Oxford University. Now in the Muslim world, they concentrate into buy weapons and to fight each other. Billion, trillion of dollars burned in the desert. So how are we going to persuade them to put the money in research, in university, that we have so many intellectuals throughout the world? They work in Switzerland and America, United Kingdom, and everywhere in Europe. We cannot attract them to come back to their own country and to the university to research for the development of the Muslim Ummah. The second key of success factor is commitment. I believe that in everything we do, we need to honor our commitment and follow through the plan to ensure that we implement what we have been outlined with our partners. So many resolutions, so many conferences I attended, but the resolution is only to stay as a resolution. Muslim country is very rich, but the money is gone to the wind, not to the people. From this conference, we hope that we can start the new era for the Muslim Ummah, for the civilization of the Muslim Ummah for now and future. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope so the same. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Mr. Mohammed Jawad Azari, please.
Thank you again. I will speak in Farsi and then they translate to English in the last part.
Yeah. Translation is available. In my point of view, I do believe speakers here pointed out very good ideas, and I'm also thanking Dr. Tun Mahathir Mohammed to attending this session. It's very appreciated. In my point of view, it seems that we are giving a lot of ideas, but now the point is lack of implementation. Now this is time to do action, and we need to understand time is passing so fast, and by even each moment we are losing one chance. Now we are following Industrial Revolution 4. It's very important that we need to follow. There are a lot of statistics which shows that digitalization is being controlled by some of the countries. I also mentioned the gap between the countries who obtain AI and they are powerful in AI. It's a huge gap between these countries and also the rest of the countries in all over the world. We need to understand that dialogue is important. Discussion is important. We need to develop a framework. We also need to set the objective. We need to set the objective how we are going to achieve AI. It's not only important that you to be a user. For Islamic countries, it's valuable if you do the implementation. We, as a Muslim, we need to provide values for all countries, not only Muslim countries, but internationally. So we need to form an ecosystem in our countries. The students, the intelligent people, they prefer to go abroad. They prefer to go to the countries that they obtain this kind of the technologies. So this kind of ecosystem needs to be defined in the Islamic countries. So we need to make it clear that government, in collaboration with the people, they can achieve this objective. We also need to think about the investors. It's very important that the key success is about the financing. We do believe that Malaysia is working very well in this kind of objective. Thank you very much.
Igor Ashmanov, if you have any comments, please.
Спасибо. Ну, я не запомнил все вопросы.
Excuse me, I can't say that. Can I speak Russian? Yeah. Okay. From my point of view, this process, that it was said that the process will take only 10 years, so that the process for the digital transformation, this process is really swift, and it is going in a way that there is a chance for consolidation of technologies, aggregation of technologies, and only in one hands, where we will see a very high barrier where the others will not be able to overcome that barrier. In order for us to overcome it, to prevent this from happening, we need to develop our own technology. I will bring an example. When in the beginning of 2000s, in Russia, we were developing a search engine. We were #1. Our system admins were refusing to buy marshrutisators, routers from Huawei. Because the quality was very bad and was a very bad copy of American routers. In 5 years, Huawei produced a very good copy of American ones. In 5 more years, it produced its own router, very bad one. In 5 more years, it produced a very good one, its own, not a copy. And now you know that they are being attacked because the whole America buys their routers and because they are better and cheaper. But it took them 20 years. It's too long. So now we need to cover this road within several years. 5-7 years, and it's already too much. It means that we need to seek access to the technology which the Muslim countries are lacking and master them very quickly. I also said that it's possible to do together with Russia. Russia is neither east nor west, with all the drawbacks. It's a completely different country with different origins. And there was a second question about the artificial intelligence. If it will take over people, I don't think we need to think about that, because all the damage in our history is coming from people, not from technology, from people who are applying technology against other people. The easiest example is when they say that the artificial intelligence will destroy the labor market, the workplaces, but the HRs, they're firing people being ordered by the management, not by machines, and this is what allows people allows them to fire people for some sake of some being some savvy. So I don't think we need to think about artificial intelligence as something that poses this existential threat. This is about people, and we need to build our own culture within societies and interaction with the other societies in a way that it maintains certain values, so we can prevent it.
Okay, I'll go straight to 4 of the points that has been raised just now. Number 1 is talking about robots with humanoid. My view is this, the concern that has been raised out is correct. I will agree to it. But again, like what the expert of it says, you cannot stop all this kind of technology and practices and things which is coming in a big way. So the best thing is, the Muslim has to master themselves with all this technology so that they can come in to do the necessary modification to suit the way how the religion Muslim teach its people to behave, and also the culture that need to be built up. Number two, there is also an issues related to machine automations, concern about labor demissions, jobs, opportunity loss, and so on. Yes, from certain aspect that's true, but I would like to also stress that we need to look it from the other perspective, where this technology is coming in with one very major intention: increase the efficiency, increase the productivity. So if we do not have this technology, the Muslim Ummah will be left very far behind because we are not productive, we are not efficient. So we have to weigh between these two effects, and I strongly believe that we have to move towards improving efficiency and increasing the productivity. In terms of unemployment and so on, we need to look into and brainstorm how that can be overcome. On matters of protecting ourselves from all this advanced technology like AI and so on, again, I'm of the opinion that we need to push the existing learned generations to understand further and play the role to impact all this knowledge down to the less learned people so that they really understand. And this has to be done because whether we like it or we don't like it, this technology is coming in a big way. If you look at the history of Industrial Revolution, the early one is more than 120 years. The later Revolution 2.0, it happened within 100 years. And later on, the Revolution 3.0 is almost something like 75 to 85 years. And now, if you look at Revolution 4.0, people are talking about 5.0 now. It's getting shorter and shorter. What it means here is the movement is very fast. So the best thing is we need to protect ourselves is by emerging ourselves and engaging ourselves and adopt ourselves and adapt ourselves into that situation so that we understand and try to mitigate it. I think time is up for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dato. Our last speaker, Professor Khaldoon, please.
Thank you very much. I was very happy that His Excellency Mr. Jawad Azari supported the idea of the framework which we are looking for and the creation of this ecosystem. I think that is only one way where we can go through all the problems. If I look now, all the intervention of our participants here, we have the protection of the security internal, the protection of our education and our tradition. If we look at the international relation and the cybersecurity, if we look at the development of a bank to support financially the development of the artificial intelligence, if we look at the problem of the building skills for innovation, in fintech, the innovation in fintech and so on, if we look at the protection of ourselves, which is the same as the other one. If we look even at the problem of the refugees, Rohingya refugees, I don't want to let our brother alone here in this topic. I mean, here we can improve, for example, through blockchain technology, we can improve the way how the aid is arriving to them without having all the corruption and all the things which are happening. This can help also to improve the life quality of these refugees. It doesn't resolve the problem, but at least we are making one step forward for them. So I think all these topics and all these points have to be covered by this framework. The organization of this framework will look, it is an umbrella. It will cover the geopolitical and political issues, the economic issue, the ecological issues, the social issues, the technological issues. So all this, and it should be, as our colleagues before said, that it should be also done in a very speedy manner because time is counted. We cannot wait for the next 10 years and we say, well, in 2030, inshallah, we will be like that. Well, inshallah, the other will be 5 times further than in front of us. It doesn't go. So it is a decision, and that is a political decision, which I personally, if I allow myself to say that in front of the chairman of the KL summit, to say that that is one political decision which should be taken, and that is a place where it should be taken. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dadin. I also to thank the Honorable Tun Mahathir bin Mohammed for being with us in this important session. I believe the issue was very important in this session. We have a good information, but also there was a very important questions to be answered. Everyone now understands the importance of the advanced high technology as a part of sovereignty of our countries, and as an important part in all the fields of our life. I think our speakers have concentrated also on how to bridge this gap by creating critical mass, working together on the level of research and development, also by trying to find a finance for all those researches and this work, and finally by some laws. And most important of that, we need a political decision to push those things forward. I believe the situation is not hopeless, although it is very sensitive. It's not hopeless, and we can do it. We can do that, but we need to act to be part of the digital transformation in this century. Thank you very much. Hope the best for everyone. Thank you.
With that, thank you, Mr. Osama Hamdan, for moderating a fruitful session. Hopefully, our session today in KL Summit will be the catalyst in creating a collaborative ecosystem in high-tech among participating countries. Before we end this session, I would like to invite our distinguished speakers and moderator for a group photo. I would also like to humbly invite Yang Amat Berhormat Tun Dr. Mahathir bin Mohamad, our Prime Minister, Chairman of KL Summit, to join our speakers on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, just a general briefing. Our next session will commence immediately after this. I hope that everybody will remain inside so that we can start on time, and our session will also finish on time. Thank you very much, Yang Amat Berhormat. Thank you for gracing the event. Thank you, moderator, and all of our distinguished speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, just a short brief about our next and final session, which is plenary session 4. Our topic will be preservation of national identity. Our moderator will be Mr. Bassem Hatahait, who is also the committee member of KL Summit, and will have 4 wonderful speakers that will deliberate on this topic. Assalamualaikum. Could I call upon the moderator and the speakers involved for our final session to be at the waiting area for all the speakers, which is on the left side of the delegates, my right hand side. I would call upon Mr. Bassem Hatahit, the moderator, followed by the speakers, that is the Honorable Datuk Saifuddin bin Abdullah, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, and the Honorable Major General Datuk Haji Aminuddin Ihsan bin Pehin Datuk Haji Abidin, Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports from Brunei Darussalam, and finally Dr. Majid Al-Ansari, Professor of Politics at Qatar University, Qatar, as well as Sheikh Abu Bakr Ahmad, Grand Mufti of India, and Professor Sao Takahashi from Osaka Jogakuin University, Japan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, inshallah, all of our speakers as well as our moderator are all on stage. And basically, we are ready to start our session. Just a little introduction about our moderator. He is a committee member of KL Summit, as well as an expert of European Parliament. With that, I pass to you, Mr. Bassam Hafid, the floor. تفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good afternoon. أنا سعيد جدا بلقائكم مع ثلة من السياسيين وثلة من المجتمع
of civil society. This is the first time in a summit, official summit, where political society and civil society meet. In this fourth session, we'll move from technological revolutions, mechanisms and tools to the revolution of society, its values and searching about it, because it's the pillar of building the healthy society that is able to provide a society that is able to rise with its civilizational project and strategic objectives that have been drawn by this summit. I would like to stress a group of factors that Dr. Mahathir has mentioned through the strategic objectives put for this summit, especially from the perspective of community and humans. Dr. Mahathir loves to ensure a basic issue, which is we have to leave sectarianism, racism to the field of Muslim man who carries a group of values that he can challenge, with which he can challenge on the national arena and world. Dr. Mahathir has spoken about unification, moderation, tolerance, balanced civilization and integrated civilization. Then he mentioned many units on which we have to work on: unity of man,